Hello. So this is going to be a bit longer than these videos usually are because we have some things to discuss here. So this is the video where I will be announcing the book that we will be reading together in the month of July. And that book will be Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider, which just happens to be one of my favourite fantasy books of all time. So I think that that's the reason that this book won, because a lot of you who voted for the books have followed me for quite a while. You know that this is one of my favourites, and a lot of you have previously shown an interest in reading this one anyway, so this one won the poll. But I am also glaringly aware that this book was the only book out of the 4 options that was written by a white person. And there's lots of commentary I could get into on that, but I would just ask anybody who voted for this one to just look inside yourselves and contemplate that specific choice. If you chose it because you know it's my favourite book and you really want to read it with me, fair enough. If you don't know why you chose it and it was just an unconscious choice, then maybe think about whether there's something there you need to work on. I'm not saying that there is. It's just an observation I've made that I wanted to put out there. So this is the book that will be the July book club book. I, as you may have gathered, have read this book multiple times, and I've actually already reread it once this year, so I will probably go ahead and read book 2 while you all are reading book 1, but I will of course be able to discuss book 1 with you at length because I've read it multiple times. So since whether I read book 2 or not, this is a reread for me, and since this book was the only one on the list by a white author, I wanted to let you know that I am actually going to run 2 book clubs this month. Now, absolutely no pressure to participate in both. If you would rather participate in one and not the other, absolutely fine. Let me know down below if you do want to participate in one or the other or both, and let me have your Instagram handle if I don't already have it, and I will add you to the relevant chat. The other book that, well, the book that came second basically was Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. So this is the other book that I'll be running a chat for on Instagram this coming month in July. I'm not going to make a habit of running 2 books every month because I appreciate that everybody has different reading speeds, and some people 2 specified books in a month is going to be too much. So I will have a chat for both of these, and you can just let me know if you want to participate down in the comments. You can also let me know over on Instagram as well if you would like to, and I will just add you to one or both of the chats depending on what you would prefer. Also, so you know, I will probably also be reading The Hate You Give, and probably On the Come Up as well in July myself. So if you decide to pick that book up and you want to discuss it with me, then feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to talk to anybody as you read a book. If you're reading something that you know I'm reading, then that's always the case. You can always reach out to discuss books with me. That's why I made this channel, so feel free to do that. So the official book will be Poison Study and Full Disclosure. Official books will be Poison Study and Full Disclosure for the book club, but just know that I will also be reading The Hate You Give in case anybody wants to chat through their reading experience on that one with me. So that's what we're doing in July. I also just wanted to briefly touch on what I'm going to be doing with this book club going forwards. So if you saw my Black Lives Matter video, which if you haven't, I will link it, you will know that I am making a concerted effort to be more intentional with my reading. There are lots of statistics floating around online, so you can find the specifics if you're interested, and you probably should. But I've seen lots of statistics floating around that indicate that the black and author of colour ratio within the publishing industry is infinitesimally small compared to the white community within publishing. That's not just authors and characters, but it's also within the behind the scenes of the publishing industry as well, so like marketing, editors, all that kind of thing. So it becomes all too easy for us as readers to just read books that interest us. That's what I've been doing forever, and not really paying attention to the fact that because of the way that the publishing industry is currently set up, and I say currently because I'm hoping it's going to change, but the way that the publishing industry is currently set up, you have to be intentional if you want to ensure that you are reading books by black authors and authors of colour, because otherwise you naturally will just read less of them because there are less of them. There are less that exist, which is a problem. So I, in my own personal reading life, will be making an effort to combat that, but for the purposes of the book club, there are a few steps I'm going to take as well. So every month there will be at least 2, if not 3, books by people of colour up for the vote. There will be, going forward, there will be 4 books to choose from for all the reasons I explained in the last video. So out of those 4 books, at least 2, if not 3, will be by authors of colour. Also, every other month will be exclusively books by authors of colour. So, for example, I don't know, in January I might have 4 books available with 2 of them by authors of colour, but then in February all 4 will be by authors of colour, and then in March there would be 2 or 3 by authors of colour, and then in April all 4 would be books by authors of colour. Hopefully that makes sense. But before we get into that recurring sort of theme, because of what I noticed from this month's vote, I am going to be doing 2 months after July, so August and September, where there will be only books by authors of colour available to pick from. So in August and September there will be 4 books and then 4 books by authors of colour to pick from, and then in October we'll go back to the at least 2 books by authors of colour and then interchange from there. I hope that that all made sense. If not, and you have questions, then please let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer those, but I think that's it for this one. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.